Hi everybody. So this is thanks to James Julier, and I hope I'm saying his name right. You can find him on YouTube. He gave me the idea of using the hearts brush. I'm doing the tree differently than he did, but I just watched part of his YouTube last night, and I think or 2 days ago maybe, when I did that cute little girl, this one. So just start any size canvas. I like to do 12 inches, 300 DPI. In my last class, I did provide Snowy Day and Snowy Moonlit Night palettes. If you have those, I would use these light blues in the Snowy Day palette. I'm about to put out this Winter Days palette. It's similar. It's slightly less teal. These two have a lot of teal in them. And this is 2 palettes here. And for now, even though I am going to be using these colors right now, I'll kind of show you how to find them approximately. Let's go ahead and just make our background not white so that we can see snow more easily. Maybe like a orangish yellow and then just slightly off-white. Okay, so we're going to do this tree. And when I think of snowy trees, I think of these way up in the mountains, just totally weighted down with snow. And so my branches are going down. And in fact, so if you look at, you're not going to have, there's really hardly, I can't see anything here. Whoops, sorry, I just bumped. I can't see anything here where there's green branches sticking up, right? So it's all snow on top and then green underneath. And when I say green, I'm saying green because we all know the trees are green, but you're not seeing green here, right? You're seeing really dark colors here. So that's something to keep in mind too, is it's not exactly what you're going to think it is in your head. It's much darker. So the branches, of course, some come out to the sides, but then you can see the ones coming towards you are going to kind of angle, this one's like straight down, right? So we need to get a variety like that. This one isn't a great example because it's like a line of them right there. This one has some going to the side and to the side. I can't remember how I found that. So we're going to go to the hearts brush, and that is, I believe, in Artistic. Yeah, right here. This is one of my favorite brushes. In fact, if you're familiar with gnomes of yesteryear, some of the first gnomes that I did last year, time is all really blurred right now. It may have been 2 years ago. I have a really cool texture on those, and I did it with the hearts brush. So I'm going to actually start with that for you guys, because not all of you have the brush that I used in the picture that I used for my post for this. I used my pulpy paper brush. So on a layer up top, let's just go up a few layers. Choose black and go to a big brush size. You need to get used to the hearts brush a little bit because it's crazy. I'm going to turn my cursor on. I don't have my brush cursor on, and that is right here. So you can see the brush cursor, how crazy it is, right? And that's a setting that makes it do that, and that's good. That's good. And you're just going to want to, it's not going to be black in the end because we're going to change the blend mode, but I didn't test this particular thing out for this tree. So hopefully this works. If not, we can just turn the layer off. And so we're just gonna get a kind of a very light touch and a swirly, crazy cursor here, right? So when you zoom in, you can see how it's just very sponge painty, speckly. I don't like how this brush, I can see the repeat pattern. If you ever take my repeat pattern classes or my brush making classes, this is one of the things that bothers me a lot about. So you can see this blob. But we're going to turn that to, let's just turn it to overlay. And what that's doing is It's just making a nice darker blotchiness on top of everything. If you want, you can try to go ahead and do another layer similarly with white and also change it to overlay. But we can play around with that at the end too. And I'm barely touching my pencil to the page. So this is something that we're going to need to, I'm going to group those layers and just group that, get that out of the way. We're going to need to play around with that potentially because I didn't test this first. Let's go ahead, and I'm not going to use a brown for the stump yet. I'm just going to use a really dark green. So I'm really between green and yellow with this very neon chartreusey green, and I'm really dark. And I'm staying on the hearts brush the whole time. But I'm going to go really small with it. So now I'm at like 3%. Oh, I know what I was going to say is to play with the brush a little bit. So I'm on a new layer. I'm kind of down low because the snow is going to go on top. But if you play with the brush a little bit, you can see how light strokes do versus medium strokes versus hard strokes. It's very different. So this will take a little bit of practice, just getting used to the brush. I'm just looking to see if there's any questions. Okay, so we're just going to go right in the middle of the page. So I'm just going to put a line just so I know where the tree trunk is going to be. And oh, I'm going to go smaller. I went up in size. So I'm at 3% again. And if you want, you can sort of sketch out where your branches are going to be. The top is, I made mine weighted down with snow, kind of leaning over. And remembering that you're going to have some coming towards you also. So maybe one like this and this, and then another one. And of course, some going, they get wider and wider as they go down. And this is really rough, just really, really rough. Just make a few. And I'm going to zoom way in, and remembering that picture I showed you, how it was all a mound of snow on top and all the green was underneath. So I'm really going to focus on, I can go ahead and press harder where the tree trunk is going to be. That's probably going to be hidden by snow, so I don't care that it's not brown right now. And I'm making, oh, I might go to a smaller size. I'm making little crazy branchy tapping. Oh, this made me think of Brenda. She's probably asleep because it's, middle of the night over there in the Netherlands. Tap and dab. She would like this. I bet she'll watch this and blow us away. Oh, so the branch is coming towards us. And they're going to get kind of blended in here because I like to stay on one layer. We're going to see both sides of, so they're going to be more like this, right? So let's go ahead and we're really just blobbing the secret to my art. This is literally what James Juilliard did. Can you believe it? If you're not familiar with his stuff, I mean, he has a million amazing free YouTube tutorials out there. So we're leaving some gaps. And you can go see he has background trees in a totally different way than this. And then he has this one foreground tree with this hearts brush. So again, on my side branches, I'm kind of going down, and I'm not worrying about the top because it's going to be covered with snow. I need to remember that I have a branch right here. If that's going to be hard to remember, which it probably will be for me, maybe you can, choose a lighter color and remind yourself with a little line or something like that. Because you're going to cover that with snow, so it's okay if you draw on it. Mostly what we're going to be seeing are the ends of everything once we get snow on top. All the snow is covering all of this. So scratchy, scratchy, swipey, swipey, press light, press hard. You can see I'm at a really dark color, and I think you can see how dark I am. I'm just kind of coming down the trunk here, and let's see, I had one going this way. I should have one coming out here, the one coming towards us here. Sorry, I just bumped the camera again. I bumped the stand that the camera's on. And let's go this one. Let's make this a little one. So while I'm just, hopefully you can follow along, and we're just doing the same thing. Blobby, blobby, swipey, swipey. This one's coming towards us, so I'm kind of doing both sides. While I'm doing this, I can talk about, the equipment I have to make my Skillshare classes. I'm going under here. I'm going to have a branch coming out here. I literally have like a $100 thing that holds my phone up here. And I got $60 lights. They're not great, but they work. And I got a $30 mic. So if you feel like you might want to teach someday, it really doesn't have to be a big investment. Before I had the stand for my phone, I had a vodka bottle. I don't drink, but I drink a little bit, but I make homemade vanilla. I'm going to add a little branch up here. So that was the tallest and heaviest thing I could find in the house, and I had one of those little tripods that bends, the legs bend, so that it's a travel one, so you can grab onto bars for your selfies and stuff. I'm going to make this branch come over this way. And I let it grab the vodka bottle, and that held it up over my iPad. Let's see, so I have this branch. Now I think I need one over here. One that's coming towards us. This probably looks not very impressive right now. For people joining late, this is the Hearts brush on a really small size. We can always come back to the green layer after we're done. I'm going to remind myself where these branches are that are coming towards us. We can always come back to this really dark green layer and add more. So I haven't done a lot of these trees. Like I said, I just figured this out the other night, but it's still been very helpful to have the tree there first instead of the snow. Some of this, as I was trying to figure out how to do this, I was looking online for tutorials just for regular drawing, and a lot of it was watercolor tutorials, which is totally different because you have to leave, empty spots for the white. Okay, anyway, so sorry, I guess I can't talk and do art at the same time. What I was getting at was, I don't think it would be easier to just do the snow first and then come back and do the tree underneath it. That's what I was getting at. So I would probably spend more time kind of maybe making it a little fuller, but the snow is really going to fill in a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to the snow now. Although I think I might put one more branch that's coming towards us. And I'm I'm going to make a little line. I think that's a good idea, making the line to remind you that it's there. On the last one I did, I got confused about that. If you want to go ahead and go to a really dark brown, come over to orange and go to a dark brown. You can do it on a different layer or just kind of add some brown down here. Maybe 2 shades of brown. I've always done this on a different layer, so we might regret that. All right, up a layer. And here's where we're going to go to our darker. I used 3 shades of blue-ish. You could do any light pastel color, like light pink, light blue, light purple, light green even. If you have it, like you'll see in James Julier's tutorial, he has a pink sky, so he used some pinks and purples for his snow. This I have these 2 blues, these 2 greens, and these 2 almost whites are coming out in my newsletter for you. But if you look on here, you can see I'm really right in the blue, and I'm really over towards the gray and really light. So let me show you on the value, whoops, what that looks like. I don't know if that's helpful. I don't know if you can see it. Can take a screenshot maybe. Hertz, H-A-R-T-S, yeah. Hertz brush. Sorry, I'm going to look and see if there's questions. Hi, Mary Jean. Let's see. You tried using this brush this morning and the pressure settings didn't act like it's doing for me right now. Oh, that's a good point. Let's talk about that for a minute. I do keep my pressure settings different. So if you go to the wrench tool and you go to prefs, they've changed this, but you can go to pressure and smoothing. If you have an older version of Procreate, it'll say edit pressure curve down here. And if you do it from here, it's going to apply to all of your brushes. This is probably a straight line for most of you if you haven't changed it manually. I recommend curving it like this. It's approximate. It doesn't have to be exactly like this, but if you want to take a screenshot, it makes you not have to press so hard on your brush. I actually keep a wrist brace on a lot of the time because I have been getting some, I had a thumb issue from how I was holding the pencil. It was in my thumb. It was ridiculous. And now I have wrist issues. So this makes things so that you barely have to press. But also that brush was on a really small size, which might be different. I don't know. But definitely check this out. So I'm going to go to a layer above the tree, and I'm going to go to the super light blue. So you can see it on the scale here. Super, super light and on the gray side. That is going to be on the underside of all the snow. So your snow is going to be darker underneath and lighter as you go up. So we're really just going to focus on the lower part of the snow right now. I'm going to zoom way in. And I'm still on Heart's brush. James doesn't use Heart's brush for this, James Julier. So if you're late, that is where I got the Heart's brush idea from. And now I'm doing swirls. So the Heart's brush is very jaggedy. The cursor, right, that's the shape source. It's very jaggedy. But you can press lighter and do swirls, and it's going to be a totally different look. So I'm kind of just adding and thinking about the lower side of the snow, and I'm pressing to cover up the green, but I'm also letting some of the green stick out. So, and I'm, let's see, the picture, let me go back to the picture. You can see from the picture that everything is kind of, you know, like tapered and then thicker, and then it gets narrower. So here's a good example. It's narrower up here, and then it gets thicker with snow, and then narrower again. But we're just doing the bottom dark blue area. If it's easier in your mind to do all of the snow, you can do it all in this color, and then we'll just add right on top of the color. So maybe we should just go ahead and do that. So make your whole mound of snow. So I'm going through, and maybe in the interest of time, I won't do the entire tree, maybe just these top few branches, because we have to do 3 colors. So I'm going through, I'm doing little swirls, and I'm mounding my snow. And I'm letting some of the dark green stick out. And the top, I'll fix the shape of the top at the end because I'm going to be adding 2 more colors. You can already, to me, it already looks like snow. So I'm on top of the branch. This is just how, I'm just talking through so you can kind of hear what I'm doing here. And I'm mounding it thicker, thinner down here, up to a wider area here, and then tapering it down up into the underside of the branch above it. Thinner up here, thicker down here, mounded on top. This one has our branch that's facing us here, so I'm not going to spend too much time. Hold on a second, I need to plug my iPad in that's next to me. I need to reach over and get the right plug here. It was at 32%, but now it's giving me a little battery warning. Hopefully the cable's not in the way. Oh, you can see my grungy orange sweater. I love this sweater to death. Okay. Right, so that's what we're going to keep doing to all the branches. Let's do this one. Oh, I have a hair on my screen. Let's do this one that's facing us. So that one is going to be kind of wider like this. So even though I can't really see where we drew all the branches, this is just kind of a tap and dab type of thing, right? So I'm just kind of picturing, I thankfully have that green line there. And my branch comes down to here. And I'm going to come back and add some more green branches that stick out from under some of these areas if I end up covering too much. So I'm not too worried about that. And now I can do this branch over here. Sometimes I try to shortcut and do this way, and it doesn't have that nice billowy smooth surface that circling this brush has. And you could probably actually find plenty of other brushes that work for this. James Julier uses Rainforest, I think. I like Rainforest for clouds. Or rain something. It's in the, oh gosh, organic section. Rainforest. So these dark spots are showing up, and that's part of our texture layer that we added at the beginning. So don't worry about those. You can always adjust that later if you end up not liking it. I need to mound this up more because it kind of needs to go up and then down, although we do still have other colors to add. Okay, so I'm going to do this one more branch. Very uneven on the bottom. I don't know if I mentioned that. I don't think I did. So very uneven on the bottom. Sometimes the snow will merge into another branch and then twirly, twirly, twirly. This big branch probably has a lot of snow on it. This is the more time-consuming part. Adding the other two colors is less time-consuming because they're just highlights, basically. All right, well, I think I could have used another branch in here, but I'm going to keep going. I'm going to stay on the same layer, and I'm going to go a little lighter. So this next one, I think it goes a little greener. Yeah, just a little bit. So down here in the blues still. And the lightness, I'm at 88% on the brightness scale. So that tells you how light it is. So now what you need to do is make sure you, on the underside of each of these areas, make sure you leave this darker blue exposed. And we're lightening the other areas. Hopefully you can see how it's getting lighter. And it's just subtle. So I'm leaving the darker blue down here. I'm really hoping my camera's not bumping. The camera stand is wonderful, but my desk is on carpet, and so it's not super stable. If I bump the desk, if the camera mount were on the desk, it would jiggle the camera. So I have a teeny tiny desk next to me. Oh, we didn't do the top here. I'm gonna add, well, no, I'm going to erase that later. And the teeny tiny desk next to me is where the stand is, and then it comes up and over here. So I can bump the desk now. So the ones that come towards you, you're going to leave dark blue, the darker blue on both sides. So the whole top is going to have this lighter blue. And these whiter patches are that canvas texture we added with the Hearts brush earlier. "30 people watching. How many of you are following along?" I usually do these in a way for people to follow along, slow enough, which ends up being a little too slow if you're just watching. This is where I can play with the shape that whole thing is. And then let's just push it towards almost white. Just push it all the way. Don't double tap. It doesn't need to be fully white. If you have a sun on one side or something, you're going to want to do this lightest color in a particular way that allows for your sunlight to be in the places it needs to be. So I'm going to press a little harder with this, but that means I need to go a little smaller. So now I'm on the very top of each of the sections of snow. And I'm going to take a little break and see if there's any questions. Hi, Jean. So many art friends. I call you guys my art friends. And Veronica, taking notes. I was, but had to stop. I need to watch. Yeah. I'm just watching typically to pause when do tutorials. Yeah, it'll be in my IGTV. I don't even know if they call it that anymore, but that's what I call it. You're in Mexico. Oh, I don't know how to pronounce that. I know how to pronounce Oaxaca. Listen and then follow Mary Jean, following along, but mine has issues. I'm learning a lot though. Good. You what? It's not perfect on your first try, Mary Jean? Come on. Okay. I'm pressing a little harder with this. It's not super white. If it were, it would be too much. And I'm kind of rushing now, and I ended up not doing my circles. I need to go back to my circles, especially on this top part. And then I would leave it less bright up in the tree where it's more shaded. The brightness is going to be down here. Maybe it can go back up as I can't see, as the branches get bigger, it can go up. Are you guys surprised at how easy this is? You have to tag me if you like your results, and let me see what you guys got out of it. Or even if you don't like your results. You can message me privately, whatever you want to do. I'm going to go back to this darker blue. I feel like I need to make this a little two separate pieces. I don't know, something going on there. And let's go ahead and double tap in the white and get super duper white, and you can see how different that is. See how different that is? It's very bright. So I would use that sparingly. So these are blues. Kind of a dusk or dawn sort of snow, or a shadowed, not in the sun sort of snow color. Sunset would be more pinkies and purples, but just kind of a sunny day, I think, would be more in the yellows, kind of more of the golds. So I would probably, this is kind of too big of a gap here. I wonder if we can fix that. Let's do a test. Let's go back to the tree layer and the super dark green. Can we add a branch? Maybe one of these that's sort of coming out this way. Go back to the dark blue. So that is going to end up covering what we have here. I'm going to go to a layer under the snow we already have so that this one can look like it's got snow under this one. My dogs are snoring. And then the lighter, maybe not go super light down here because it's shadowed under this one. Yeah, I like that. And then go back up to the top one and go to white. Maybe get a little where it's obviously overlapping this lower branch. We can go back down to the green layer and decide if there's any areas that you want more, branches sticking out like that, and just kind of come through and do some more of those. Or in this case, erase a section. Ooh. So that's how I would do that. Oh, it looks like this branch, I should have come over here more with that snow patch. So that would have taken a long time if we did the whole thing, but I do want to show you the background, how I would do the snow down here. I'm going to stay on this brush and I'm going to go really big. So let's go to a layer under all of that and just pick one of the lighter blues. And we're not going to do a big mountain in the background, but you can do a little swoop and then just start playing with color. I would leave it darker under the tree, and I would have bright hills back in the back. Oh, this brush is a little too crazy for this. So choose different brushes. You know, I started dark again. Layering is great, so you can have these dark on the light on top. It does make a difference to have color and texture built up. Let's see if there's any questions. Oh, I make it look make it look easy. Sorry. It's practice. Practice. You guys probably have day jobs. This is my day job, so I'm kind of lucky that way. It looks funny with just snow on the top. I'm going to come back to questions in a second. This is almost done, so I'm just going to go back down to this darker and go a little bit darker blue and just kind of get some shading down here. Just a little. And I'm going to erase the stump a little bit. So I'm just going to make it look like it has a mound of snow in front of it by sort of erasing a bump right there, so I can add a bump of snow. I could go ahead and add the snow on a separate layer than my current snow. I could do it on the snow layer that the tree has, but let's just go ahead. I'm going to go to a pretty bright, kind of the brighter of the 3 blues we had down there, and just give smaller size. Oh, I tipped my canvas. Sorry, I try not to do that for you guys. Right, just kind of mound it, kind of bright up there, and then kind of spread out. Good enough. It's good enough. Shh. So I like the texture. So you can see that part of the texture you're seeing is because we used the heart brush for the snow, but part of these brighter white spots and the darker spots are because of the overlay textures that we did with this brush. Oh, you can turn it off. Okay. So a lot of that was with just the snow layer that we did. So here you can toggle the texture layers on and off and see what a difference things made. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but you can play around with that if you take my classes and do pulpy paper brush. So the pulpy paper is really fun. That's all I did. I think I must have chosen a slightly different background. The color obviously isn't a sky color. I just wanted to have a non-white color for when we got started. But that is all you do all the way down.